When I say it did it in fluent American English, I'm not breaking between words. I don't say it did it. As I'm linking and connecting in fluent speaking in English, I link my T and D sounds. And I do different things depending on what follows the T and D. So linking is really about where we actually break and how we connect between words. When I say it did it, the most obvious linking is my D to vowel sound. It sounds like did it, where this D really jumps on to this word. I'm not saying did it. There's no break there. Did it, did it. It sounds a lot more like dit at the end of that phrase. So when I link from a D or a T to a vowel, I use what's called a flap. So it could be a flap T or a flap D depending on the letter, but basically the sound is a flap. And we have flap sounds in other languages as well. Some languages use a flap for the R sound when it's in the middle of words, and it's just one tap up of the tongue behind the teeth. So it's like one roll of a rolled R. So if you speak Spanish or another language that has rolled R's, it might be helpful for you to think of that as an R sound. If you don't, that's confusing. Don't worry about it. It's definitely not an American R. And then what happens between it and did? You can hear how I didn't say it did. You can't hear that T sound. And because that T is followed by a consonant sound, so not an open vowel like did it did, I'm starting fresh on this consonant sound. So here, I'm not starting fresh on this vowel, I'm starting fresh here. Did it. I have that dit sound. But here, I do have a little bit of a break between it and did. I just don't let my T out. Not it did, but it did. So I call that a stop T, or you'll also hear it as an unreleased T. And what that means basically is that I go up to make that T, it did, and then I just release it right on the D sound. So it sounds like it did it. It did it. So there's basically no real breaks in this phrase. The only small break is between it and did because I'm not letting that T out. It did it. It did it. So those are two of the main things that we do with T and D in the middle of words and in the middle of phrases is that we either flap them, little tap up with the voice on, or we don't release them, we stop them, or they're unreleased. I have a lot of explanatory videos for T and D at the ends of words, in the middle of words on specifics, and you can also get help for how to link T's and D's, how to do the stop T and flap T in my videos specifically for that. I also highly recommend our Sounds of English course on speech modification that's going to walk you through all the different permutations of what T and D do when you're trying to link, and our Real Talk course that gives you a lot of practice for saying these kinds of things smoothly. So that's the most basic, T's and D's at the ends and how they link. Then what about when I have T's and D's for past tense? So I have a lot of videos talking about when we add ed for past tense, it can either say a T sound like in stopped, it can say a D sound like in moved, or if the verb ends with a T or D already, we have to add a syllable. So in it, you can hear how needed sounds like needed. We have that letters ed sounding like the id sounded, needed. It needed it, it needed it. So here again, between it and need, I'm going to have that stopped, unreleased T. It needed it. And now, needed it, if I just say it needed, I'm going to have that did sound. But because I'm doing needed it, I'm linking here again as well. So I end up with my did it again. Just like here in it did it, it needed it, it needed it. So think about trying to naturally say did it, and then needed it. So I can backwards chain this phrase so it comes more smoothly to me. Because if I go word by word, it's very likely that my old pattern, my old way of saying it is going to come out. And instead, I really want to feel where these connections are and the lack of breaks. I want to feel it needed it rather than it needed it. So there are little syllables within it, but the sounds, again, this D jumped on to the last syllable. It's not really needed it, but rather did it, needed it. It needed it. So these are two examples with just the D or with a D from a past tense. And then when I have a word like edited, edited, I have my flap T within the word. So this really functions with my voices on for all three of these, and they all end up being flaps because as I go from edit it, I'm linking here again. I'm going back to my did it that I had in did it and needed it. It's just now at the end of edit it. So if I'm going to write this out, I'm going to think about it with my first T unreleased, it. Actually, in this case, correction, I'm linking my it to my vowel. So here, it did, it needed, after my T came a consonant sound. But here, after my T, I have a vowel sound. So I'm gonna flap and connect there. So I'm gonna have it added it. So I'm gonna be doing more of a flap or a D sound there. It did it. So looks a lot different if I see it this way than if I see it written how it's actually written. But you can hear if I say it edited it, it edited it. I'm really repeating those three sounds, and that's how I actually say that. So I did make a short video. I'll release it later today, kind of joking around, playing around with it edited it, because it does sound pretty funny when you think about the sounds. Of course, if I had just said that for you, it would sound natural to you. And when you see it written this way, you see how that linking is really dominant. It really changes how we say those words. So in the video, I talk about edited it, credited it, etc. and a few other examples. This is pretty extreme because we already have edit, we already have the flap here, and edited is already by itself having that connection. And then when we link to the it, we end up with another it sound. So if I was gonna backwards chain this one, I would start at the end. Did it, did it, edited it, it edited it, it edited it. Yeah, and if that's something that you have to say, you might have to say, I edited it. So you can add that here instead of, this would be it, and this would be I edited it. And there, because I'm going between the I and the eh, vowel to vowel, I'm going to end up with a little y sound. I edited it, he edited it, she edited it, you edited it, they edited it, we edited it. Okay, so you probably don't have to say that too often, but it's a good way to practice feeling natural with that linking and visualizing where the breaks actually occur or the lack of breaks so that it's all linked together. If you have questions about how to link T and D or how to practice for that, feel free to leave them in the comments. As I mentioned, you can get help for the sounds and the rules of the sounds in our Sounds of English course, and you can get help practicing it in our Real Talk playlist here on the channel and in our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com. And best of all, you can get our Smart American Accent app that's going to give you practice phrases specific to your needs and give you feedback on how you're doing it. So it can listen to you, it can give you exercises to be practicing at the right level and to get that fluent speaking all the way from the basic pronunciation of the sounds to how they link together to how you get that to happen as you're speaking in a conversation. Check that out on our website as well, speechmodification.com. That's our smart app. Okay, welcome everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here this morning. Thank you for your questions. I'll turn to those now in the chat. If you're watching this later on as a replay, you can put questions in the comments, and feel free to ask about pronunciation, fluent speaking, whatever is going to help you feel more confident when you're speaking English. So nice to see you. We said we have a question about origin place instead of original place. So it depends on what you're talking about there. Those have two different meanings. So an origin place would be the place of origin. So we really wouldn't say origin place. Too commonly, it's more common to say the place of origin. So what's its place of origin, or her country of origin, her place of origin. If I'm saying the original place, that would be more about like the first place I was talking about. So the original place that something happened. So for example, say we're meeting for lunch. The original place was on Main Street, and now we've changed to a new place. That's how I would use original place. Place of origin, where something comes from. So its origin, its root. So two different meanings. So depending on what you meant to say, I can't tell you whether or not you were correct, but that's the difference between those two. Thank you for your question and for being here today. Okay, nice to see you, Undead Heart. Welcome back. We have a question about preparatory and proprietary. Two very good words and challenging because of the combinations of sounds. So first let's look at preparatory. So even though we say prepare with the air sound, prepare, when we change to preparatory, we don't say preparatory. Preparatory, I gotta check my spelling, preparatory is stressed on the prep syllable. So it becomes more prep, tor, e. So we have secondary stress on tor, so we do keep the or syllable, but our air syllable becomes more of an preparatory. So they're doing some preparatory work prior to the event, for example. And then we have a question about proprietary. So for proprietary, like proprietary material or property, we have stress on the pri syllable. So we'll have letter O saying an unstressed schwa, pri, and then we have secondary stress here on the AR. It's going to say the air syllable. So it sounds like pri, ter, e. Proprietary. What I recommend for this one is start on the stress syllable, practice proprietary, because it's difficult with those double R's and all of those syllables in the syllable stress. You'll be able to master it better if you break down the syllables like that. Proprietary. And for this one, just maybe practice these three quickly. Atory, and then preparatory. Good words. Thank you very much for being here and for that suggestion. I'm sure that will help others as well as you. I do have a video for proprietary on the channel, but I'm not sure about your other words. So after class, I'll be putting some links to more resources based on your questions today. Okay, welcome back, Mr. Rahman, and you asked about fait accompli. So a fait accompli, this comes from the French, obviously. So we stress a little bit on fait and then on accompli. So in French, more fait accompli. In English, we say it more like fait accompli. So we do say this as the same as the word fate, with the A diphthong, secondary stress, and then accompli, with stress on the pli. So fait accompli. Secondary stress on com, and then major stress on pli. So think about it as fait accompli. It's a fait accompli that you will learn from watching my videos. Okay, not the best example sentence, but thank you for that request. Okay, we have a question about in the phrase bad time, will it be like a stop T? Yes, so when I'm saying bad time, I had a bad time, I'm not going to let that D out. I'm just going to release right onto the T. So it's an unreleased D. But it won't sound exactly the same as though I were saying bat time, because when I have an unreleased T, I make the vowel sound a little bit shorter. So in bat time, for example, he's up to bat, so it's bat time. You can hear how my bat is very short versus I had a bad time, bad time. I'm going to hold the ah vowel sound a little bit longer. So that's the main difference between bad and bat, is how long we hold the vowel. Because neither of them gets a t or a d sound, I'm not letting those t's and d's out. I'm releasing onto the t of time both times. So this one's short, shorter, and this one's longer. That's true for all of the different voiced and voiceless stops. So if I'm having like bus and buzz, or bop and bob, all of those voiced and voiceless sounds follow that rule of shorter before the voiceless sound for the vowel. Okay, very good. We have a question about whether to pronounce probably with 2 syllables or 3 syllables. So I use 3 syllables in probably. This middle syllable is very short and reduced. So we have the pra is long. And then we have a short little b, and then a short little blee. So you may hear people saying probably. That's okay as well. It's probably not going to be too noticeable. So that is another variant that people use, probably versus probably. I think I tend to say probably more often than probably. But it's probably okay. I was trying to use it. So this came out for me naturally when I was saying a sentence, but I definitely do hear probably without that middle syllable in some people's speech. Very good. We generally try to keep things as short as possible. So there are a lot of words where it could be 3 syllables. That's not incorrect, but we reduced to 2. I'd say probably is one where keeping the 3 syllables maybe sounds slightly better. Okay, very good. We have a question about the word singular. So in singular, we have words like singer or singing, where the letters NG just say one sound. It's not singer, just singer. But in singular, we do have both the NG sound and the G sound and the G sound. So it sounds like sing with the ng sound, singya. And then my GU has a y here. So it's singya, singular. And then my AR is just going to be an sound. So sing. I'm mixing up where I'm putting the IPA and where I'm doing my alternate spelling. So this will be the IPA. So we have first syllable stress, singular. And for how to write it, I'll just rewrite it as, think about it like the word sing for my stress syllable, and then gya, singular. Singular. So some people will do a little bit more singular with more of an oo sound there, but because that syllable is unstressed, I think it's better to stick with the schwa, singular. If you do hear singular, it's not wrong, it's just maybe going to lengthen that and give it too much clarity. So you want to try to stick with the schwa there. That's a good word. I don't think I've covered that before, and it's really a little bit tricky because it does have the, it's just like finger with the ng and the g sounds, but it also has gya, which is tricky for some people. Great. Okay, thank you for that request, and I hope that helps you with the word singular. Okay. We have a question about the sentence, I will get back to you later. So if I'm stressing on will, I will get back to you later, I would use the full will there. But most of the time, I'm just going to reduce this and link it as I'll. Because if I say I will get back to you later, it sounds like I'm saying, I'm already disagreeing with you. No, I will get back to you later. It gives too much stress and emphasis to the helping word will, which you don't want. The regular way to say this is just I'll get back to you later. So make sure that you contract that, or it might sound like I'm trying to correct you. No, I will, rather than just the regular I'll get back to you. So I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you later. Probably my main stress in this is going to be on later. I'll get back to you later. Even though the verb is here, because I'm adding the later, the adverb, the time modifier at the end, and it comes at the end of the phrase, it's going to get the stress. So I'll get, and then here's an unreleased T before my B, get back. I'll get back to you later. So my you might get a little bit reduced to a ya, get back to ya. So then I would have kind of t, ya, and then stress on lay, and then I flap that T, later. I'll get back to you later. I'll get back to you later. Or I'll get back to you later. It can have an oo here as well, but this is one place where the word you is not very important. So we're often going to change that vowel to more of a ya sound. I'll get back to you later. Let me get back to you later on that. Yeah, good phrase. Thank you for bringing that up, and it ties in with our theme of T&D linking and also just fluent speaking. Okay, we have a question, deleted it and appreciated it. So those go very well with edited it as well. So for I deleted it, we again have our did it at the end, did it. And then our stress is on the li. So I, d. We're going to have another d here, or a duh. The first E is going to be unstressed. Dele. My li is going to be stressed. So I deleted it. I deleted it. Oops, I deleted it. And then appreciated it. Same idea. It's going to have the did it at the end, but it's going to have a pre. She, a, and here I'll link vowel to vowel, she, a, and then did it. So I appreciated it. I appreciated it. Thank you very much. I appreciated it. Past tense. I might say I appreciate it present tense, but I appreciated it when you edited it. I didn't appreciate it when you deleted it. Very good. Yeah. Good examples, and I'll maybe include them in a future video with credited it and edited it. Okay, we have a question about Undead Heart has a question, consonants in words with N in the middle. So conference, government, maintenance, environmental. So yeah, so it sounds like, it looks like conference, government. Actually, in some of those, it's kind of okay to skip it. What you want, and what you're probably doing correctly, is that a lot of times the N is going to make the vowel before it a little bit nasal. So I'm not really doing a strong conference. I might say it more like conference, where my vowel is very nasal, and then my N may or may not close there. I attended the conference. We put a lot of that N sound onto the vowel, especially in something like government. Many speakers, including me, will just say government. So the government is, I don't want to talk about the government, rather than the government, because the those are both nasals, are so close, it slows me down if I say those N's too strongly. Your other words, maintenance, yeah, that same thing, that NT, I might have a really nasalized maintenance, and then environmental, yeah, environment, again, same idea. Probably if you aren't fully saying the N, that's going to be better. So the app you're using, is that the Bold Voice app or my app? If my app's telling you it's not there, I would say you can go to the Discuss Further tab and say, give it a correction and say, the N sound shouldn't be too strong here. I'm putting a nasalized vowel, and government, if I say it with a strong N, it's going to not sound natural and not flow. And I'll see if I can make a correction on the app to give it that feedback as well. It might be looking at each syllable rather than hearing the whole word. So that's not something I encountered with it yet, but I do like getting that kind of feedback because I tend to tweak the app and tell it to be more specific about how we sound naturally in speech. Great. Okay. Nice to see you here again and welcome back from your travels. Okay. We have a comment about people pronouncing these words differently. Hurry and available. So for hurry, I say it like hurry with the vowel. Some people might do a little more like hurry. He's in a hurry. He's in a hurry. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm thinking about in the word sure. Again, I say it like sure. And there definitely some people say sure. So that might happen here on hurry as well, but to me that would sound weird like hurry. So I would stick with hurry. That one I can check, or I would also check in the dictionary to see if you see more than one correct pronunciation for it. And then for available, I'm not sure what else you would hear besides the standard where we stress on veil. It sounds like available. Available. So the veil syllable is stressed, and I link that L, available. It's connecting both the A and the sounds. We better hurry while it's still available. If you have something more you'd like to say about the other way you heard it, or a follow-up question on that, just let me know. Okay, nice to see so many of you here. Great questions today. I really enjoy hearing what you are asking about. It helps me know what to cover in future videos. And a lot of times, some of the best videos come from your comments and your requests, because you really know what it is that you struggle with English and what things are challenging for you. So thank you so much for being a part of class today. So we have a question about sack and sock. So I use the terminology for these vowels of the a vowel. I call that one the black cat. That's a front vowel, open front lax vowel, a. And then sock, sock is, I call that one the not hot vowel. And that's the open back vowel. So whenever we have minimal pairs like this, sack versus sock, you might have a challenge making the sounds. First of all, knowing the tongue shape for them, that the front of my tongue is down, but the back of my tongue is lifted. And then second of all, my whole tongue is down, and there's more space all throughout the front and the back of my mouth for the sound. This sound you're more likely to have in your native language. This one you may not have in your native language, depending on what language you speak. This is less common in a lot of world languages. If that minimal pair is difficult for you, then I recommend using another word for each. So do 2 words in a row that have the a sound. For example, that sack, or had a sack, versus not a sock, or got a sock. Because between had and not, probably you're not going to have as much trouble hearing the distinction in those vowels. It's just because everything else in these 2 words are the same. So back of the tongue lifted, front of the tongue open, a. Back of the tongue down, front of the tongue down, ah. That's the difference between those 2. And I have a lot of videos with minimal pairs for these vowels. In my Sounds of English course, I walk through those differences, error patterns to watch out for, and give you lots of example words, ways to practice both of those sounds. And you can get feedback on those sounds in our Smart app as well. Thank you. That's a great question. Okay. We have a question about the word venerable, if it can be reduced the same way as comfortable. Venerable. Yeah, I would say maybe venerable might get reduced to venerable. So the venerable so and so. The only thing that I would say maybe to avoid there is that it might sound too much like vulnerable. So when you're trying to say venerable, you might want to keep the venerable, the four syllables, so that it doesn't come too close to being vulnerable. Yeah, the venerable. Yeah, I think probably both work. Just being careful about your vowels and not letting vowel come in there. Very good. Thank you for that request. All right, we have a question of whether people pronounce LLM in fast speech. Yes. So if I'm saying LLM, oops, not LLL, LLM, I'm gonna have LLM are my syllables, but I'm gonna be linking and I'm gonna be stressing on M. So the M syllable is stressed. This L is going to jump on, so I'll have LLM. So it really kind of all connects. I'm not really breaking there at all because they're all vowels or liquid sounds. LLM. So if it's easier to think about it as like lem, but you don't want to break. That doesn't sound right. If I say LLM, it doesn't sound the same. But if I connect them, LLM, whichever way to visualize it to make sure that you get that linking and connection is the best way to picture it to say it correctly. Yeah, so people do link that, and to answer your question. Great, thank you. So we have a question about how to say whether it's okay to say good morning, I'm going, I'm taken. So your question is a good one. We do in casual speech say I'm going. Like I'm going in, I'm going to the whatever. That is something that happens. I'm taking my time, I'm taking the bus. Less common. So going and doing come up the most for this. I think with other verbs, it's not wrong in casual speech to say good morning, but it is more typical of the Southern accent, some other regional dialects in English. Generally, for non-native speakers, I recommend trying to use the full ing, because what you don't want is to say, to your boss, I'm working on it. I'm given the presentation. It doesn't sound professional. It sounds like you're just very relaxed on Friday night talking to your friends. So if you have a tendency to have that accent pattern in your speech, it's better to just always use the ing, so that you sound professional and that you can use it naturally. Otherwise, that N might sneak in for you where you don't want it to. So that's usually my recommendation there. Okay. We have a question about pull and pool. So for pull, we have the vowel which is the lax vowel. My tongue is a little bit lower. My lips are not as pursed. For pool, we have the tense oo. My lips are more pursed, and the back of my tongue is higher for this vowel. So for pull and pool, the other thing that you'll notice is that pull, as it goes into the L, doesn't really have much of a slide. I can just do ul pretty smoothly. In pool, I have the oo sound sliding into the ul sound for that dark L. So I end up with vowel to vowel linking of like pool. So this is almost like it's two syllables, whereas this is just one, pool. So don't pull me into the pool. So this is going to be significantly longer because of that vowel to vowel linking. Again, my recommendation when you're struggling with these kinds of contrasts is to use, for example, push or should. I should pull, push and pull, versus new pool or in the pool soon, so that you can match those vowels. Yes, and I do have a lot of contrast and help for those particular words as well as those two vowel sounds here on the channel and in the other resources I've been mentioning. Thank you for that. That's a lot of people struggle with those two. Okay, we have a question about, follow up on hurry. Hurry or hurry? Okay, so for, in a hurry versus in a hurry. So generally the R is going to connect the two syllables. So hurry, hurry. I tend to go more with that's just my dialect, in a hurry, hurry. But really these two shouldn't sound that different from each other. If I think about it like hurry, sounds really weird to me. Hurry, hurry. But if it's easier for you to do that, as long as those connect naturally and the R connects the two syllables, it shouldn't matter too much between those two. And then you mentioned for available or available. So I wouldn't do available. I would do avail, full A there, ale, avail, available. Because it's the stress syllable and it should have the A, ale sound rather than the L sound, available. Okay. Thank you for following up and making that clearer for me, because I wasn't sure what differences you were hearing. Okay. We have a comment, difficult to say certain sounds correct, like themselves and the vast, putting my tongue between my teeth or bringing lower lip against the teeth. All right, when you have a TH and a V basically close to each other, right? So the vast or themselves. So you may speak a language where your accent pattern is to use kind of a f or a v instead of a th or a v. So it's probably the v that's more difficult here, but because if those two sounds are linked in your accent pattern, then your mouth is going to want to either do the vast or the vast or themselves or themselves. Like it doesn't want to switch back and forth between those two phonemes. So what I recommend is whichever one is more difficult, focus on that. Also, you can break it up by, here I would start with vast and then add your the back. So make sure that you get the lip placement, vast, then add the vast, the vast. So as I'm going from the v to the v, the vast, my tongue just slips back and my lip and teeth connect, the v, the v. So there's very little vowel there, which is probably why you find that difficult. In selves, themselves, there's some sounds in between those two, but again, if you have that pattern, you may find that difficult. So then you can just break that one up. Them and little break, selves, or just do vz, vz, elves, elves. So work on breaking up the word into smaller pieces and putting the sounds together, and then bringing that into connected speech in your phrase and in sentences. Basically those placements, the more you can just practice going in and out of them from other sounds, the smoother they'll be for you in the future. Okay. We have a question about didn't, the second D, does it become a flap T in fast speech or like a weak R? So if I say I didn't, the second D, didn't. Let's see, let me just double check what your question was. Would it become flap T? Didn't. Yeah, because what happens here is that this N functions like a vowel. So I don't want didn't or didn't. Neither of those sounds natural to me, a stop unreleased or a full D, because it's like there's a little schwa before that N. So it's almost like did and I don't let that T out. So didn't. And really, when I didn't, I almost drop this and go to kind of a short, reduced and didn't. It's, you can kind of drop that D out, didn't, but you don't want didn't. You don't want to go right to the N. So yeah, a little bit tricky. After class, I'm going to put a link to my video for don't, won't, didn't, where I walk you through kind of how to practice that and the different options for saying that one. Yeah, definitely a tricky one. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Question about how to learn English without a language environment. So what I suggest is do as much talking in English as possible. So even if you're just talking to yourself, if you're watching a movie, try to retell stories that you've listened to or heard or read in English. Try to talk about your everyday world around you. Try to think more in sentences in English and express yourself in English. The good thing is that there's a lot of English you can immerse yourself in with media. And to really get more fluent in a language, we have to use it. And it's harder when you don't have the opportunity to use it in your daily life. But you can think about what you're saying in your native language and how would you say that in English. So if you're going in to order in a restaurant, go ahead and order in your native language wherever you are. But in your mind, think to yourself, if I were in an English speaking place, do I know how to say this? How would I ask for it? And practice thinking that in your head or saying it out loud. So the more you can kind of force your brain to use English for thinking and for speaking, the more fluency you'll attain. Great question. Thank you. All right. We have a question about how to pronounce albeit. So we stress on the B. It's sort of like, almost like the word all be it, albeit. But our L is kind of muted here because our stress is on B. So albeit. It's kind of a dark L there with the ah vowel. All. Be, and then as I link from B to it, be it, I should just have a natural yeah sound connecting those. So albeit. Yeah, good one. It's a weird looking one because it's all one word, but it's kind of, to my mind, like those three words. Okay. We'll take a few more questions and then we'll be wrapping up for today. I'm really grateful that many of you are here week after week. It's so nice to see you and hear your questions. I really enjoy this time with you on Saturdays. Okay. Yes, we have some more advice learning English sounds, read out loud, shadowing and talk to ChatGPT, simulating real situations. I concur with that advice. You can also get a lot of free resources here on my channel, on my website, speechmodification.com, and using my app. It also has a daily conversation for you, and you can customize your plan and tell it you want to practice more with fluent speaking in daily speech. Okay, we have a question about collar versus color. So in collar, we have the ah vowel. And in color, we have the schwa, the vowel. So this one, think about it like collar, and this one like color. So even though these are spelled with AR and OR, they both just have the ER, the basic sound. And again, for our contrast, like I often suggest, using another word like not or got a collar. My father's collar versus what color, some color, much color. So keeping the sounds together and the sounds together will help you with that contrast. Yeah, I have a video for these two and also with collar, like the collar on the phone, and that's the vowel, like saw the collar, my collar. Yeah, between collar and collar, some people have merged that and vowel, and they'll say those two fairly similar. In my dialect, those are still separate. Okay. Good morning. Nice to see you. We have a question about in cute dimples, do we use a flap T or a true D? So in cute, if I'm doing cute dimples, for this T, I'm going to use an unreleased T. And then cute dimples, I'm going to use a true D there, cute dimples, because I'm starting a syllable with that D. Cute dimples. Yeah, that's a cute phrase. Okay, we have a question about 3, 30, tree. So for 3 and 30, we have the th sound. So you want your tongue between your teeth and blowing air. And when I'm doing 3, I have to pull my tongue back to that tight R sound. So often when I teach people to say 3 correctly, I have them start on re and then just sneak your tongue forward for the TH. Re, 3. Because that TH-R combination is hard. If you start here with the TH, you might end up with 3. It might cause too much sound between those two. But in 30, again, you can do the The T is going to be more of a flap, so it'll sound like a D. So I would do erdy, 30. And then your third one was tree. So that one, just a true T sound, can come out right into the R. But you can still build from the R sound. Tree. Some people in TR will say tree with a CH sound. I don't usually recommend that because I think it sounds a little bit forced. But the difference between tree and tree is very minimal. So if this one's easier for you, that's another thing you could try. Yeah, I do have videos for all of those words and comparing the THR versus the TR here on the channel. So you can check those out after class as well if that's helpful to you. Okay, we have a question about the word definitely. So in definitely, we have first syllable stress. We have the vowel, def. And then our initly are going to be sounds, in it. And I'm going to have an unreleased T there. And then the LE sound. So think about it like def. And then I would say either or here is fine. Defa, nit. Don't let that T out. And then ly. So it's definitely something that will improve if you practice on it. Thank you for that word. Yes. All right. Getting close to the end here. I hope to get to everyone's requests. If I miss yours, please follow up with me with a comment after class, and I'll make sure to make a quick video for you for the comments. That's something I've been trying lately with responding to comments with a short rather than explaining so that you can hear me say your word. I have such a long list of requests from people that it's hard to keep up with all of your comments in terms of making videos. Although I do always respond to all of the comments. So again, if I didn't get to yours today, I apologize, but you can leave me a comment and I'll follow up with you. Okay, differences between stock, stack, and stock. So you said stock twice, maybe you meant stuck, but for stock, we have the vowel. For stock, we have the vowel. Some people make these two the same, stock and stock. For me, I'd use more of an here and an here. And then you asked about stack has the vowel. That's the black cat vowel. And then, yeah, maybe you meant to do stuck as well. That would be the vowel. So thinking about this one as this one as so that stack, some are stuck, saw a stalk, my father's stock. Yeah, just a quick overview of those vowels. Again, for those kinds of contrasts, do check out my minimal pairs playlist and also my Sounds of English course to walk you through how to hear those differences, where they're made in the mouth. This one is open, fully open. This one's rounded and open, This one's back of the tongue lifted, front of the tongue forward, This one is whole tongue is central, And I have visuals for you for that, lots of other example words that you can use to help, and then also minimal pairs, other minimal pairs with the same vowels so that you can really start to hear and differentiate those. That is one of the challenges when working on your accent or pronunciation in English, and it's definitely helpful. The more you learn about any, like the vowel system in general and any particular vowel, the more it's going to help you with those kinds of contrasts. Okay. We have a question. Yeah, stuck. Yeah, good. So that you did mean to type stuck. A question about Seattle. I do have a video for this as well. So Seattle has a combination of the flap T and the syllabic L. So it sounds like dull at the end. And then the beginning, we stress on the A. So we have dull. And as I move from the C to the A, I'll have some vowel to vowel linking there. Seattle, dull. So that dull part is probably the hardest. Just thinking about it, of having a little bit of an vowel before the L, dull. Just very little sound between my D and my L. So similar words, bottle, little, Seattle, middle. Some people find it easier to do that flap and L combination with words spelled with D, but it's the same sound in the middle of Seattle. Nothing really different between the flaps there, between the letters D or the letters T. Yeah, great request. Thank you. Okay, question about how to use had been. So I had been working on that, meaning was done in the past, but no longer ongoing. So I have been working on it means worked on it in the past, still working on it, had been working on that specific time period in the past and no longer going on. I had been going there when I had been going there for 40 years when X happened, versus I've been going there for 40 years, continuing and still going on. Yeah, good question. Thank you. All right. So nice to see everyone here today. Thank you for the great questions and requests. Again, if you're watching this later on as a replay, do put your questions in the comment, and I'll be back on Tuesday. We're releasing a new video for you, as well as some periodic shorts and other videos throughout the week, and then we'll have our live class again next Saturday. I hope to see you there. Remember to check out the free resources on speechmodification.com. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, that does help the channel grow. And we also offer channel memberships with some exclusive videos and other perks. So you can check out membership offerings by clicking the join button. It was nice to see so many of you this morning. Thanks for practicing with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you next time.